My name's Kym and I'm the counsellor who works with NCUK and Amend. And I know a lot has been coming up for some of you about the changes that have been brought about with lockdown easing. We've already had to process a huge amount of change over the last few weeks with going into lockdown. And here again, quite suddenly for a lot of us, it's felt that there's been many changes brought in very quickly. So how to manage this period of time, this new phase? Well, the first thing to say is that probably whatever you're feeling right now, it's quite understandable and quite normal. It's a very unsettling time. And we've been used to feeling relatively safe indoors, and suddenly the rules have changed again. So what does that mean for each of us? And it may mean different things for each of you. The first thing to say is that any change is always unsettling. Feeling anxious, maybe a little bit excited, maybe cross that other people don't feel the same is all quite normal. Give yourself time to adjust again. One of the most helpful things to do is to take it slowly. That may be more or less difficult for some of you, but this is about thinking, what can I manage right now? What is important for me right now? If you've been shielding, for example, it will feel very strange going out, even for a short walk. But perhaps this could be a time where you think, okay, I'll start a short walk somewhere familiar, just in my local neighbourhood, maybe even only for 5 minutes. Don't feel too pressured to do too much too soon. One of the things that's really helpful when we're managing change is to think about what we can control and what we can't control. Being able to feel that we have some sense of agency over what is happening to us is very important. So when you go out, you may not be able to control how other people behave, but what you can control is your responses to them. It's fine, for example, to say to someone, please could you step back, that's not 2 meters, or to change your route and avoid someone who may be coming nearer to you than you are comfortable with at this particular time. A lot's changed too with being able to mix with larger groups of people, and again I think this is about only doing what you feel is manageable for you at this particular time. If it feels too much to be meeting with a group of say 6, maybe it's about saying to your friends or family members, I'm not ready for that right now, but I will be in due course. Could we meet in a 1 or a 2 or a smaller group? And again, think about what you can manage. Does an hour feel about right? Does that feel something that would feel okay? Again, let people know and check in with yourself. What are you comfortable with? Some of you may be in situations where you have to go back into workplaces, or you have to be mixing in ways that leave you feeling quite anxious and feel quite demanding and stressful. Think too then what energy you've got left over for socialising or spending time with others outside of those things that you have to do or you need to do. And be gentle with yourselves. It's important to say, if I'm using a lot of energy up in the day doing these things, I might have less emotional energy left to manage my anxiety about socialising, however much you might want to at other points. So try and balance these things out. Don't feel that you have to roll to someone else's rhythm, to put it like that. The other thing that can be helpful is to think about what you valued during lockdown. Some of you have said to me that you valued being able to step back a bit, have a slightly slower pace of life. Some of you have said that you've really enjoyed connecting up with people that you've missed, that you've not spent time with, relationships that might not have been prioritised, family members or friends who've been forgotten. So it's a good time to reflect on what is it that has been important to you in lockdown? What have you valued from it? And what have you missed? And perhaps use those insights about yourself to take forward into your life as lockdown eases. Some of you have also talked about the tensions that might be in your families or your friendship groups. around different ways of navigating lockdown easing. And this is difficult. Different people will have different priorities. If you have younger family members, they may be very keen to get out socialising as soon as possible and perhaps might minimise some of the risks. If you are in the older or more at risk categories, it can feel very challenging if people are not attending to your worries or you feel your concerns are not being taken seriously. Try to step into each other's shoes, but also feel that you can still articulate your own position whilst listening to others. Often when we get angry with each other or annoyed, it's because there is some anxiety or fear behind it. Maybe try and think, what could be the fear behind this? Is it that I will lose my friends if I never go out again? Or is the fear I could become really unwell if I start stepping out too much too soon? So the other thing to say is, again, this is about how important it is to work at a pace that feels right for you. And that's going to be different for each of us. But I would really encourage you to start thinking, what is it that is important to me right now? What can I do right now? For some of you, that might be a 5-minute walk around the block. For some of you, it might be starting to think about, if I'm meeting up with other people, who is it I want to meet up with? The other thing that I'm very mindful of is that many of you will have had appointments and scans postponed during the lockdown period. And hopefully some of you will have watched John Newell Price's excellent video on the implications of that for you as a patient group. And as appointments and scans start up again, it's quite understandable that you might be anxious about what they will show or about going into the hospital settings where they're happening. First thing with managing anxiety is always just to acknowledge it and to accept that that is a very natural and normal feeling to be having right now. And again, to be thinking about, what are the things I need to do to take care of myself when I'm feeling anxious? For some people, that might be about running through the scenarios of going into the hospital setting. Where would you park? Where will you need to go? Checking out carefully any instructions you're given if you need to go for a scan or to a particular place in the hospital. For others of you, it might be allowing that it will be a very tiring experience to go through. When we're tense, it is tiring. So giving time after your appointments to just settle down, to process any information and to treat yourselves gently. So as things start to pick up again, it's understandable that your condition might come more into view and you'll have questions about, what is this scan going to show, or what is this appointment going to mean? And sometimes it can be helpful too to bear in mind that in the course of your condition, this period of time is probably not very long. For most of you, as John Newell Price says, not much will have changed. And certainly your care professionals will have made very careful decisions about those of you who have been kept in for appointments or kept in treatment, and those of you that haven't. So I hope that's helpful. Be kind to yourselves in this next period. It is challenging for all of us. And I'll be posting some other videos in the next few weeks about simple relaxation and breathing exercises for if you are feeling anxious when you're out or waiting for appointments or going to hospital. And there are a lot of resources already on Amend and NC UK websites that I'd encourage you to have a look at. All right, I hope that's helpful, and I expect I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.